Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that's absolutely critical for anyone doing business in or with Bolivia: customs offenses. Because, as you're about to see, the line between a simple, costly mistake and a life-altering crime is razor thin. Knowing exactly where that line is can be the difference between paying a fine and facing a prison sentence.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get on the same page about what a customs offense actually is. Then we'll explore the two very different paths things can go down: the manageable infraction versus the serious crime. We'll also dig into what makes things better or worse, and then wrap it all up with the key things you need to walk away with.
All right, first things first. To really get this, we have to start with the foundation, which comes straight from the Bolivian tax code itself.
So Bolivian law has this term, ilícito tributario, a tax offense, and it's broad. It covers any action or even something you failed to do that breaks the tax rules. But here's the crucial part. Right from the get-go, the law splits these offenses into two completely different buckets: contravenciones, which we'll call infractions, and delitos, which are straight-up crimes. And that distinction, well, it's everything.
This right here, this is the core of the whole explainer. It's a tale of two paths. On the left, with infractions, you're in an administrative world. It's handled by the tax code, and the consequences are financial: fines and sanctions against the company. But on the right, whoa! A crime kicks you into the criminal justice system, governed by the penal code, where the consequences become deeply personal. We're talking prison time and individual liability.
So let's start by walking down that first path, the one you're much more likely to encounter: the infraction, or contravención. You can think of this as a costly mistake, for sure, but one that you can still manage. We're talking about the usual suspects here: paperwork slip-ups, forgetting to register, messing up an invoice, or just underpaying your tax bill. But check out that point on smuggling. Yeah, you heard that right. Even smuggling can start out as a simple infraction, but only as long as it stays under a very specific value. We will definitely be coming back to that.
So, what happens when you commit an infraction? The penalties are all designed to do two things: get you to comply and get you to pay. We're talking fines, maybe they'll temporarily shut down your business, and they'll definitely seize the goods. It's all financial and operational pain. But notice what's missing: jail time.
And the law itself just spells this out. It says that when you have an infraction, what comes out of it is the responsibility to pay what you owe, plus the penalty. It's a financial problem, plain and simple, and it has a financial solution.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. The law actually gives you a lifeline. It creates this clear, time-sensitive way to slash your penalty. Look at this. If you pay up right after you get that first notice, you can knock 80% off the fine. But if you wait, that discount shrinks. The longer you drag your feet, the more you pay. Time is literally money in this situation.
Believe it or not, it gets even better if you are lightning fast.
There's this amazing concept called effective repentance. If you pay the entire tax debt within just 20 days of getting that first notice, the penalty for not paying just vanishes. It's gone. It's the ultimate reward for owning your mistake and fixing it immediately.
Okay, so we've seen the world of manageable mistakes and financial penalties. But now, we're about to cross a very, very serious line. We are now on path 2, talking about a delito, a crime. And this is the point of no return.
These are not considered simple errors. The law views these as deliberate, fraudulent acts intended to rip off the state. You've got things like tax fraud, telling other people not to pay their taxes, but the big one we're zeroing in on is smuggling, or contrabando. It's one of the most serious offenses on the books.
All right, everyone, listen up. If you remember one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this number: 200,000 UFE. That's a Bolivian monetary unit tied to inflation. When the amount of unpaid taxes on smuggled goods crosses this threshold, it's no longer an infraction you can get a discount on. It automatically becomes a crime. This is the bright red line in the sand.
And the consequences for a crime? They're on a whole other level. This isn't just about money anymore. The main penalty is prison. For that major smuggling we just talked about, you're looking at 8 to 11 years behind bars. And that's not all. You'll still get fined. They'll take the goods and the trucks or cars used to move them, and you can be banned from doing business altogether. So let's circle back to that bit of law we saw earlier. Remember how it said infractions create a financial responsibility? Well, for crimes, it says the responsibility is personal in nature, and it creates two separate liabilities, criminal and civil. The message here could not be more clear. Once you cross that line into delito, it is no longer about the company's problem. It is now about your problem. Your personal freedom is on the line.
So you'd think it couldn't get worse, right? Well, it can. Let's look at what the law calls aggravating factors, things that can make a bad situation a total nightmare. And on the flip side, we'll see if there are any, and I mean any, ways to hit out of it.
This table is pretty eye-opening. Just look at how these factors amplify the punishment. If you're a repeat offender with an infraction, your fine goes up 30%. But if you're a repeat offender with a crime, your prison sentence can jump by half. And look at violence. Using weapons instantly turns a simple infraction into a crime and then adds even more time to the sentence for that crime.
So, is there any way out of this? Yes, but the escape hatches are incredibly small and specific. The law allows for a defense in a case of force majeure. We're talking an act of God like a massive earthquake. There's also a tiny window if you can prove you made an honest mistake on a declaration that you filed before customs even started an audit. And importantly, there's a shield for customs agents who are just doing their job, faithfully copying the info a client gave them.
Okay, that was a ton of legal detail, I know. So let's just boil it all down. What are the absolute must-remember points from all of this?
This is your cheat sheet. 1. Know the two paths. An infraction is about money. A crime is about you. 2. That 200,000 UFE number is the magic line for smuggling. 3. For infractions, time is your best friend. Acting fast saves you a fortune. 4. Behavior matters. Don't make things worse. And 5, and this is maybe the most important, good, honest, accurate paperwork is your best shield against all of this.
And all of this, really, it just leads to one final, fundamental question that you have to take back to your team and your operations. The law draws a very clear line in the sand between a simple mistake and a serious crime. The real question is, are your internal processes strong enough to make sure you never have to find out which side of that line you're on?